everybody, what's up? It's Jarrett back with you with another deck profile. Just want to give a quick shout out to Iron City Games, Envision OPG, the premier YouTube channel for One Piece gameplay. We're just going to get right into it. I played Imperio and Volkov in a Winnabox tournament yesterday. For those of you who don't know who Imperio and Volkov does, if you have no cards in hand, at the end of the turn you get to draw 2 cards, which doesn't seem like a lot on paper, but it's actually a super broken effect. So just like on my last deck profile, we're going to start off with just the generic 2K shields here. I never played any of these. Really, you only use them to guard. You want to play super defensive in this deck and guard early, protect your life. Seems counterintuitive to most regular game plans. But we start off with the Mr. 2 from set 1. His effect is irrelevant. We don't play any events for him to grab, so you strictly block with him. You have the Mihawk for 1 Don. You can draw 2, trash 2, which can help you out if you're in a bind. But out of the games I played, I never had to play him. So still just straight 2K counter. Then we move on to the Mr. 2 from the new set, Paramount War. His effect is on attack, you can trash a card, bottom a 2-drop or less that your opponent controls, and then at the end of battle, he goes to the bottom of deck. So he can come up in Law and other matchups where they have small blockers for some spicy attacks, but I didn't play any Laws yesterday, so never really played him. He's also Impel Down traded, which is relevant for other cards you'll see in the deck profile later. And then we just have the typical 4 Alvida, same thing, 2K shield. That's all you really need to know about her. Next, we're going to move into your preferred opening hands and your keeps, or what you want to see in your opening hands and what you want to keep. First off, we have the new Buggy from set 1, or from set 2, I apologize. And his effect is same as the 1-drop Nami in red. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, grab an Impel Down character, or Impel Down card, except for himself, and then bottom the rest. This is super relevant when you're looking for your Luffy's, your Ivankov 7-drop, and you can also grab 2K shields when you're wanting to protect your life. That's also super relevant late game. This is just the best value engine in the deck, and you want to see it every game. If you don't have the Buggy, you can also always open up with the blocker Don Flamenco from set 1. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, rearrange them in any order, and then place them on top or bottom of your deck. So this lets you see the draws that you're coming up, what you're going to draw, what you want to draw, helps you search for cards you're looking for specifically. In worst case scenario, you can also always bottom the cards just to clear the top 5, which I did multiple times throughout the weekend. Now we're moving into our blockers, things you want to play to protect your life. We have the Mr. 3 from set 2. It's a 4-drop 5K blocker, so it's statted really well. And then at the end of turn, you can trash a card to restand it. So this makes him a very good offensive threat as well, because your opponent has to respect its ability to swing, because you can just swing, drop a card at the end of the turn, restand them, and if you go to 0 cards in hand, you can just draw 2 with Ivankov. So it's really nuts, lets you play offense and defense at the same time, which is always the best feeling. Next, we have the 4-drop Inazuma. Same thing, 4-drop 5K, great blocker. But if you have 1 or less card in hand, he gets 2K power, so he becomes a 7K blocker. And what's really cool about him is you can do a bunch of combat tricks where you can declare him as a blocker and then counter a card from hand. And the way the math works is it'll check the static after you counter out. And so if you counter with a 1K, it'll go block, counter with the 1K. It sees you have 1 card in hand. It gets 2K bonus, so it goes to an 8K blocker. So your opponent has to do math on how to get over what its total amount could be. And also, it's a 7K attacker with 1 card or less in hand. And so being able to swing for 7 with no Don attached is pretty nuts, because it's forcing your opponent to use 2 cards out of hand. The card's actually just insane. One of my favorite cards to play. So no way I'm running it as less than a 4 of. Next, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the deck. Your preferred turn 3 drop when you have 5 Don, because you want to go first most games, is the Crocodile 5 drop 7k vanilla. Its most important thing is that it's a impel down traded character, so you can grab it with Buggy or play it with other cards effects that we'll be talking about next. But it applies so much pressure on board that it's the tempo starter. If you play this on turn 3 and they don't have an answer for it, you're in a really good spot. All right, the next 2 cards we're going to kind of talk about together because I think they're the best duo in One Piece right now, and that's the 7 drop Ivankov and the 6 drop Luffy. So what the Ivankov does is on play, it draws you up to 3 cards. So if you play it and you have no cards in hand, you draw 3, which is insane. And then you get to put a 6 drop or less impel down character on the board. So you can play the Crocodile we just talked about, or what you're really wanting to look for is the 6 drop Luffy, like that. On play, or the Luffy effect on play, you can ditch 2, bounce a 4 drop on attack, same effect. It's a 6 drop 7k, so it's statted really well. Playing it off of Ivankov for free, you're putting 14k power on the board with a bounce effect, and it gains double attack when you ditch your 2 cards. It's the best feeling in One Piece. I don't care what anyone else says. And then if you go down to 0 cards after you bounce with the Luffy, you just draw 2 cards. So the hardest part about playing this deck is getting comfortable with ditching your hand, because it seems counterintuitive, because that's what's keeping you alive. But you're generating so much pressure and board presence by doing it. It's one of the most powerful effects in the game right now. Especially when you draw 4k power off of, or 4k counter power off of Ivankov, you just kind of feel invincible. All right. Next, we're talking about the last character in the deck. We have 3 set 1 Dracula Mihawks. 9 drop, 9k on play. You bottom a 7 drop or less. Still one of the most back-breaking cards in the game, in my opinion. If you watch my finals game against Nomen playing Kinemon that we just put up the channel, you'll see that he plays a 7 drop kid, and I instantly bottom it, which swings the tempo completely back into my favor. The card's insane. You just have so much follow up when you go Crocodile, Ivankov, drop Luffy, play Mihawk. It's insane. That's all I can say about it. Next, we're talking about some of the spicy stuff in the deck. We have 2 Deathwink. A lot of people prefer to play Love Beam. I, however, think Deathwink is just better Love Beam. For 1 more Dawn, you get 2k more power, and if you have 1 to 0 cards, and you get to draw until you have 2 cards in hand. It's so hard for your opponent to play around. 6k shield's insane. It also has a really good trigger effect that if it's hit off life, you get to bounce a 7 drop or less. So it's nuts. You just get to do so much. When you play it with 0 cards in hand, you can draw 2 cards and hit more counters. It's just powerful. I won't ever cut this. If anything, I'll try to find a way to get more in the deck. The last card we're going to talk about today is the last card in the deck is the new stage, New Kama Land. You can activate it, draw a card, discard a card, and then ditch up to 3 cards from your hand. So it's really great because you essentially draw 2 every turn. You unclog your hand with bad cards for new good cards. If you ever need to get down to 0 cards in hand for Emporio to draw 2, you can play it. The card's just nuts. You want to see it every game, but it can be a dead draw. You can also use Doffy to set the top 5 and then draw what you want with New Common Land, which is a crazy ability to have. Just makes the deck super consistent. So that's it, everyone. I appreciate you coming out to the deck list. I hope you take it to locals. I hope you guys enjoy it and have fun. Again, another big shout out to Envision OPG and Iron City Games. Anthony, Noman, Kevin, thank you guys for testing with me, getting the list where I like. And until next time, enjoy your day, Blue Crew.